Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Lola, and this is the second part of personal safety and injury prevention for grade 8. If you haven't seen part 1, the first part that I did, please go and check it out on my YouTube channel. In my last video, I already talked about injuries and injuries in the body, and in this video, we're going to talk about how can we make sure that there are fewer injuries and infectious diseases. How can we make sure that there are fewer injuries? Injury prevention in sports. Well, we know that there's a lot of injuries that can take place in sports. So I have a link that's in the description box below that will take you to how to prevent sports injuries. It's a video that would be great to watch with your students. Here are some bike safety tips. Wear properly fitted, approved bicycle helmets. This will reduce the risk of head and traumatic brain injuries, such as concussions, as we talked about. Follow the rules of the road. Ride on the right side of the road with traffic. Obey traffic signs and signals. Use correct hand signals when turning or stopping. Stop at intersections and crosswalks. Stop and look both ways before entering a street. Yield the right-of-way to pedestrians, inline skaters, or those riding skateboards and non-motorized scooters when appropriate. As well, you can see in the image that I have here that you should be wearing brightly colored clothing. Always wear a helmet, as we talked about. Never wear headphones because you won't be able to hear the people or the traffic around you. Keep both your hands on the handlebars, stay hydrated, and you should have a headlight and reflector on the back of your bike, but as well as on the front of your bike. And no loose pant leg or shoe strings, as they can get caught up in the wheel. Walking to and from school safely. So make sure that you stick to a safe route to school, one with well-trained adult crossing guards at every intersection if possible. If you need to cross any streets on the way to school, practice safe street crossing before the start of school. Ideally, you should walk with at least one neighbor child or older sibling. Make sure that you know how to say no if someone you don't know offers a ride, and that you yell and run for help if needed. It is not safe to use a cell phone or text while walking, which makes you less aware of traffic. Choose brightly colored backpacks, jackets, and other accessories, ideally with reflective materials for days when it begins to get dark earlier. Here are some strategies to avoid dangerous situations. Always be aware of your surroundings. Avoid isolated areas. Trust your instincts. Always have a cell phone with you that is fully charged. Watch the company you keep. And don't put both earplugs on your device in your ears. Fall prevention. A raised bit of concrete on a sidewalk, an icy patch on the road, a misstep on the stairs at home, all of these can lead to accidental falls, landing a person not only on the ground, but often also in hospital. In 2016-17, nearly 654,000 people, or about 1/3 of the more than 2 million injury-related emergency department visits, were due to accidental falls. So some top safety tips to avoid falling. It's important that you have the freedom to be creative and push your limits. That means wearing a helmet for appropriate activities such as biking or snowboarding to prevent a head injury that can ruin the fun down the road. There are appropriate play behaviors. We know some play can be physical, but it's important to know when and where it's appropriate. You need to consider anti-slip rugs for the floors in your home and mats or decals in the bathtub or shower to prevent dangerous falls. Keep hallways and stairs well lit and clear of clutter. De-ice sidewalks. Almost 8,800 of fall-related injuries across Canada occurred as a result of people slipping on ice. Driving and road safety. Being a safe and responsible driver takes a combination of knowledge, skill, and attitude. To begin, you must know the traffic laws and driving practices that helps traffic move safely. Breaking these rules of the road is a major cause of collisions. Traffic laws are made by federal, provincial, and municipal governments, and police from each level can enforce them. If you break a traffic law, you may be fined, sent to jail, or lose your driver's license. If you get caught driving while your license is suspended, your vehicle may be impounded. But you need to do more than just obey the rules. You must care about the safety of others on the road. Everyone is responsible for avoiding collisions. Even if someone else is doing something wrong, you may be found responsible for a collision if you could have done something to avoid it. Because drivers have to cooperate to keep traffic moving safely, you must also be predictable, doing what other people using the road expect you to do. And you must be courteous. Courteous driving means giving other drivers space to change lanes, not cutting them off, and signaling your turns and lane changes properly. You must be able to see dangerous situations before they can happen and to respond quickly and effectively to prevent them. This is called defensive or strategic driving. There are collision avoidance courses available where you can practice these techniques. Defensive driving is based on 3 ideas: visibility, space, and communication. Driving speed is an important factor in road safety. Speed not only affects the severity of a crash, but it is also related to the risk of being involved in a crash. Ontario data on collisions from 2013 show that 1 person is injured in a distracted driving collision every half hour, and a driver using a phone is 4 times more likely to crash than a driver focusing on the road. Don't get into a car with a stranger or an impaired, unlicensed, or inexperienced driver. Driving while impaired by alcohol or drugs remains the most prominent factor contributing to serious road crashes in Canada. Although significant progress has been made over the past 3 decades, impaired drivers continue to present a significant risk to the safety of all road users. Among drivers and front seat passengers, seat belts reduce the risk of death by 45% and cut the risk of serious injury by 50%. Seat belts prevent drivers and passengers from being ejected during a crash. People not wearing a seatbelt are 30 times more likely to be ejected from a vehicle during a crash. Reducing speed. Higher speeds contribute to higher risk of serious injuries and fatalities by reducing driver reaction time, increasing the vehicle stopping distance, and inflicting more severe blunt force trauma on victims upon impact. As part of its Vision Zero road safety plan, the City of Toronto has reduced speed limits, and that was just recently as July 2020, in an effort to curb speeding and minimize traffic-related fatalities on Toronto roads. In your opinion, how does this favorably impact everyone? All-terrain vehicle safety. All-terrain vehicles are also known as ATVs. What you need to drive an off-road vehicle in Ontario. You must be 12 years of age or older to drive an off-road vehicle, except on land occupied by the vehicle owner or under the close supervision of an adult. Direct and close supervision by an adult is recommended. You can drive a snowmobile if you have a valid Ontario driver's license, any class. If you do not have a driver's license and you are 12 years of age or older, a valid motorized snow vehicle operator's license also known as an MSVOL, will allow you to drive on trails established and maintained by a recreational organization for the use of snowmobiles. Young people don't have the knowledge, strength, good judgment, and maturity to be able to operate these vehicles safely. Combined with a tendency to be impulsive and take risks, youth are at especially high risk of injury when using ATVs or snowmobiles. Water safety. And there's water safety in different kinds of places, like at the beach, at the pool, water safety on a boat, and we'll be talking a little bit about each one. So water safety at the beach, you have to make sure that you mind the waves, understand rip currents, look out for each other, swim safely, and read the signs. Water safety at a pool. Take swimming lessons, watch children at all times, learn CPR and first aid, equip your pool with safety gear, and enforce family pool rules. Water safety on a boat. Get trained and certified. Always wear a life jacket. Pay attention to weather. Avoid alcohol, and mind your health. Boating can be a strenuous pastime, especially when you're spending all day in the hot sun. Never dive into shallow water. Always enter the water feet first. Serious injury can occur from diving headfirst into water. Check water for depth and obstructions. Adolescents 15 to 19 years old have the second highest fatal drowning rate out of any age group. Food-related injuries. Keep anything that can catch fire, things like pot holders, oven mitts, wooden utensils, paper or plastic bags, food packaging, towels or curtains away from your stovetop. Keep the stovetop, burners, and oven clean. Store knives in a wooden block or in a drawer. And get a fire extinguisher for your kitchen. Identify as many hazards as you can find in this photo. You can just pause this video and discuss this with your class at this point. And here are the answers to the last image. Again, you can pause this and go over everything that is written in here. Where do injuries happen? Here are some discussion questions for the class. Where are some of the places where injuries can happen? And what are the most common places for injuries to happen? Moving on to infectious diseases. Organisms, good or bad. Infectious diseases are disorders caused by organisms such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, or parasites. Many organisms live in our bodies. They're normally harmless or even helpful. The bacteria in our bodies help degrade the food we eat, help make nutrients available to us, and neutralize toxins. But under certain conditions, some organisms may cause disease. Some infectious diseases can be passed from person to person. Infectious disease, COVID-19. The infectious disease caused by the most recently discovered coronavirus. Over 500,000 people have died worldwide as of July 14, 2020, from this virus. Number of deaths are increasing. Let's prevent the spread of infectious diseases, but how? So we already know some of this stuff because we've been doing it because of COVID-19. So things like wash your hands often, sneeze or cough into your elbow, use hand sanitizer, use masks when indoors in a public setting, stay at home if you have signs or symptoms of an infection, and physically distance yourselves by 2 meters. That's it for today. My third video on violent behaviors will be coming up soon, so please subscribe so that you can get the updates and notifications for when I post. Thanks for watching, everyone.